So hi everyone. Do we have everyone on the call? Okay, can anyone just drop a message in the group? Okay, we have everyone except Preeti. So can anyone just ping Preeti or call Preeti? We'll start in 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, Kajal, can you call Preeti?
Yeah, Rika, I called. She's not picking.
Okay, then fine. Okay, guys, we'll start then. I'll just share my screen. So yesterday we completed till here, right, in the part 1. So now we'll proceed with the interview questions. So as these are, what is the difference between the assert and verify, right? Assert, when an assert command fails, the test will be aborted. As I explained yesterday, if you have 10 test cases and you have put the assertion in the 5th test case, okay, so again, if it fails, just think that you are verifying some title and it is not matching the expected and the actual value. If it fails, the execution will not proceed further. Okay, it fails and all other test cases will be skipped or failed. Okay, it is skipped. So that is what about the assertion which we use in TestNg. So what is verify? When verify command fails, the test will be continue executing and logging the failure. Mostly the verify command is used to check the non-critical things. So verify mostly in real time will not be using. So we use usually soft assert and hard assert, but you should know what is verify. They'll ask you what is assert and verify and what is soft assert and hard assert. Okay, so soft assert is the one which checks the assertion, it will give the message, but it will not fail the test case. It will fail the particular test case, or maybe it will check the particular test case, but the execution flows to the continues for the next test case. Okay, verify command, what happens is if it fails, it will continue executing, and by logging a failure, it will tell, okay, it was a failure, so again it will continue for next step. Okay, so 3 things are there: hard assert, soft assert, and verify. Okay, what is the default browser for Selenium WebDriver? It was a Firefox driver, Firefox browser. Okay, what are the languages supported by Selenium? As I told you, there were 6 languages, right? C#, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, and Ruby. So you guys should remember all this. Okay, this is very important question. It should be like, you should, if someone asks what are the language, it should just, you should recall and you should be able to tell all these 6 languages. Okay, what is different between the keys and type command? Difference between the type keys and type commands. So type keys will trigger the JavaScript, as we said, and it will so we have not seen that JavaScript executor voila question. So dot type anyways, it is a part of JavaScript executor. We'll take it later. Okay. how to handle the windows. So when you click on some link or something, and if it is getting opened in the child window or something, okay, so how you'll handle that they'll ask you in interview, how will you handle. They'll not ask like, okay, child window or something. They'll ask, how will you handle windows. They'll ask direct question, how will you handle windows. Okay, that is nothing but window handles. Okay, so you will do driver dot get window handles, that will return. You should be able to tell in this way. Okay, driver dot get window handles will return a set of string. That much you should remember. Then we'll iterate that set of string by using a iterator. Okay, then we'll just print one by one. All right. Then if you want to come back to again parent, then by finding a child window, you'll just switch to that window by giving that window handle of a child window. Then if you want to get back to a parent window, automatically it will not understand that again it has to come back to parent window. Again, you'll have to switch back to parent window. Okay, next, when we come to TestNg, what is data provider example? Okay, so how we wrote a data provider? We are first using an annotation, right? Data at the rate data provider, right? Then we created one method by giving a name, get data. You can, this is user defined name, you can give any name, right? And it will return the object, right? Then we created that, and then we return, instead of, it is not a return get data, it is like return object. You can do return get data. Yeah, it is get data. Then you return that. Then what the name you have given here, get data, right? Then when I go to my test case, I'll give inside the test data provider, this is a keyword equal to the method name which I created here in the data provider, right? That I give, that was get data. Then what it was returning, it was returning two strings, right? That is username and password. I'm just receiving here and I'm using it in my program. Okay, that was all about that. They'll ask you like how you use data provider, write a syntax, they'll tell. So you should be able to write a syntax here. Okay, so next, how to prioritize your test case method using TestNg. So we have, right, priority 2, 1, 3, 4, like by using this, you can prioritize. Okay, so priority was 1, so execution flows here first, then it will go to here. So that is what all about the priority. So execute the particular test methods 4 times. So how will you do? They'll ask in same way. How will you execute the particular test case? My requirement is I'll have to execute that my test case like so many times. How will you do? So you can use, there is a inbuilt method called invocation count. When we have a annotation, by using that, if you give an invocation count equal to 4 or 5 or 10 times, it will execute so many times. Okay. So how you will define the timeout for particular test? If you're explicitly defining a timeout, anyways, this is deprecated, we're not using it, but you should know timeout equal to so many milliseconds. If you give wait timeout equal to millisecond, this you don't have to give this, it is just a definition. So at the rate test equal to timeout equal to 2000, if you give, it will just consider it in a millisecond and it will give the timeout for so much time. How will you run only? See, this is very, very important question. How will you run only failed test cases? Okay, maybe you are running your batch execution, all right? So you have 50 test cases, you are running in batch. That means like by using the XML. Okay, so maybe due to some environment issue or due to some weight issue, so your 20 test cases are getting failed. So they'll tell in the same way, if I want to execute, okay, if I want to execute all my 20 test cases, how will I do? They'll tell. Okay, then how will you do? You should be able to tell. Okay, by implementing the retry analyzer, this we have one concept. Okay, to run our failed test cases by using retry analyzer. Just remember this one keyword. How will run our test cases? I'll tell you guys going forward in our framework session. Okay, when we create a page object model and framework, right? There will implement this. Okay, we do not have to perform any other activity other than we get a .xml. Double click on this and we can do. So once you implement this, okay, once you implement this interface, then you will get to one separate folder called TestNg failed.xml. So in this XML, you will have only failed test cases. So by right clicking on that, you can just execute those test cases. Okay. how to execute the dependent methods. Method 1 depends on methods 2. So we did, right? So if your method name 1 is method name, test 1, method 2, test 2. So in test 2, if just assume this is my test 2, in this, if I want to depends, okay, this method 1 was my login method, right? If I want to keep it dependent, so in that case, what do? I'll write the, okay, this is test case 2, depends on the method. I'll write, okay, login method was test case 1, so I'll write the method name test 1. Okay, this is how you're supposed to add the depends on method. How to handle the exceptions at the method level in TestNg, they'll ask. Okay, test at the rate exception, expected exception equal to, you'll give the exception name as we did previously, right? In the same way. How to make sure the method always runs. We have, right, a condition where you will have to, okay, if depends on method fail also, the method, this which I'm running, it should execute at any scenario and at any condition. So if you make always equal to true, it will execute that particular method. If it, the depends on method, if it fails also. Just example, in this now, if you're just think this is a test case, in this you're making always run equal to true, but on the methods 1 was test 1, right? If it fails, test 1 is failing, but you have made this test 2 always run equal to true. In that case, it will run. Irrespective of depends on method, your particular test case runs at any condition. Okay, that is like when you make always run equal to true. Okay, now interview will ask how to enable or disable test methods using TestNg. How do you do? At the rate test enable equal to true. If you make it by default, enable is always true. For example, if you want to make particular test case like just disable, this is not important at this point. Like you have written 3 test cases in that, like you have written new test cases for that, like those 2 are you don't have to execute because it is taking more time. So if you want to execute that particular test case, so other test cases you can make enabled equal to false. If you make, it will skip this test case. Okay, see, this is how. Understood, right? So if you have mailed this test to as false, so it was doing only test 1 and test 3. Okay. How to type a text box in Selenium? How to type in a set box by using our send keys, right? So use send keys method, like string to be entered. Anyways, how you're typing out thing using the send keys only, right? So driver.find element by dot element, whichever doing, you have found that element, and element dot send keys. If you do, you'll be able to see. Okay. How do I launch all the browsers using a WebDriver? So if I have to work with the Gecko driver, that is Firefox driver, WebDriver.Gecko driver, you will paste the Firefox driver's path, and WebDriver driver equal to new Firefox driver. In the same way, when you're working with Chrome driver, WebDriver.Chrome driver, complete path of that driver. And if you want to work with Internet Explorer driver, WebDriver driver equal to new Internet Explorer driver, but here it will be in the place of Chrome, it will be IE driver, and you'll give the entire path for that driver. Okay. What are the different types of drivers are available in WebDrivers? So what are the different types of drivers? So we have Firefox driver, it is a default one, Internet Explorer, Chrome driver, Safari driver, Opera driver, Android driver, iPhone driver, and there is a HTML unit driver. HTML unit driver, what it does is, it is kind of headless browser, headless driver. Okay. For example, if you're automating particular things, it will not launch a browser and all. So as you guys see that when we launch a browser and when it is reading an element, and if it is doing some action, sometime it is taking more time, right? More than expert login, it is taking page load and all. So HTML unit driver, what it does is, it will not launch any browser, but it does all the work for you. It is the fastest in execution. Okay, so it does the work, but it will not by not launching a driver. So it is the fastest one. If someone asks you which is the fastest driver, you should be able to tell HTML unit driver. And if they ask why, because it will not launch any browser. Okay, how will you get the title of a page? How will you get a title of a page? Okay, so if you just driver.get title, if you do automatically, this is an inbuilt method and it will get the title of a page. One more question they'll twist and ask here. I don't want to use get title method, but still I want to get the verifier title without using this title method. So how will I do that, right? If I do get that driver.get title, automatically I'm getting a title of a particular page, right? But I don't want to use this because I had got this question in 3 interviews. Okay, so in that case, when you just do inspect in the DOM structure, there's a double slash. If you do title, right, always title will be there inside the title tag. Okay, if you just inspect like double slash title, if you do, and if you do a get text of that, because it will be there in a title, right? Inside that, the title will be there. Title open, the title just in SpiceJet and title close. So it is a get text you can use, right? Double slash text, then a text function equal to title you can pass. Then you can just do a get text, or by using a tag, by tag name text equal to dot get text you can do by using that. So we can get a title by using 2 ways. One, you have a driver dot get title, which is an inbuilt method, or by using a tag name called title in from the DOM structure. You should be able to tell this thing. Okay. How to handle window-based pop-up? So how do we handle? Selenium is an automation testing tool which supports only web-based applications. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry. So how we'll handle the window-based pop-up? Selenium automation is an automation tool which supports only web applications testing, right? So as I told you guys yesterday also, like desktop-based applications, like window-based, like we can automate only web-based applications, web publications. Okay, so window-based or desktop-based applications we cannot automate using Selenium. For that we need some other frameworks and all. That is a different story. Okay, so that means it doesn't support testing of window-based applications. However, Selenium alone can't help the situation, but along with third-party interventions, these problems can be overcome. There are several third-party tools like AutoIT, Robot Class, different things are there. Okay, SQL, so different things are there. So by using those, by like just importing those, we can handle. Okay, but these are not an inbuilt of Selenium. But when you come to UFT or UFT, right, they handles like both web-based and window-based applications. Okay, so what is the difference between the set speed and speed? Okay, this we are not doing. List out the types of support types that are supported by Selenium. So mainly we are using for this Selenium for functional and regression. So what is regression and what is functional? This is just a keyword. Just keep in mind or write it somewhere. Functional is the one, for example, if you have received some particular login logout feature or some add device or some registration page from a developer, all right? So you are verifying that you're testing it manually. Like, is the particular functionality is working fine or not? Okay, that is called functional testing. So it is like functional based. When you come to regression, when you implement a new feature, the previous feature should not get break. The entire suite should run. Okay, that is called regression. Once you include one particular new feature, so again you are running all your previous 10 features, all 11 features together. Okay, that is called regression. Because by entering a new feature, the existing feature should not get disturbed. Okay, that is regression. So here Selenium we are using for two purposes. One is for functional and regression testing. Okay, well, explain what is assertion in Selenium. What are the types of assertions? So, assertion is used to verification point, as I told you, right? In Selenium, assert equal to, we have assert true, we have like so many assertions, right? Why are we using them? So, expected and actual value double. When before getting to assertions, we were using dot equal to method, right? That was quite linear, right? So, assertion it doesn't only one line. Okay, assert.assert2, if you true, it will check, okay, expected and actual value it will take as an input and it will check for. Type of assertions are assert, verify, and wait for. Okay, so we are using the mainly assertion. Okay, what is difference between click and click cut? Okay, so what we are telling here, to click on a specific part of element, you would like to need to add the click add command. Okay, anyways, we are not using it. We are just using click, but they have told this I have not got in any of the interview, but at least if you know something, it will be good. So click cut command accepts element locator and XY coordinates as an argument. Okay, so anyways, we are not using this. So locator and chord string. Okay, so just but you should know how the click works instead of click cut. Okay, how to identify element using a CSS selector. I told you guys, right? The syntax remains the same as XPath, but this is how it works. Input and email, like that. If you have, this is a HTML tag, just think this is a HTML tag. This is how it works. It will take HTML tag was my input, just imagine, then email was my value. This is how it takes. Okay, so this was all about CSS selector and all. Then we come to TestNg, how TestNg annotations works and what is the TestNg annotation execution order. So you should not miss the order. Okay, when you have your two test cases, how it works in like order. So before suit comes first, then inside after suit. That means before suit, you should know the order. First comes suit, right? Then test, right? As I said, then class, then method, right? Then your test cases. Think you have to use all the annotations. How it will execute? Suit it will go to, then it will go to test, whichever the line is there, then class, then method, then test case 1, then after method, then before method again, then test case 2, then after method, class, test. You guys saw, right? Anyways, you guys are seeing like in the class, like how we practiced all this, right? So you should not be having any doubt in this. If you have it, we'll cover it later. So, okay. So the last one question, anyways, I'll explain you guys if I get time, like what is like WebDriver architecture, that is Selenium architecture or WebDriver architecture later. But the last, which is we have WebDriver is an interface, right? So which is the base, topmost interface in WebDriver is interface, but which it implements which interface again internally, which is the topmost interface, that is search context. You should remember this. This also they'll ask in many interviews. Search context, just make a note of it. Search context is the base interface or topmost interface that WebDriver, your JavaScript executor, all those they'll implement this interface. Search context. Okay, so anyways, these all are the classes, JavaScript executor and WebDriver are the interface, search context the topmost interface. Okay. Now when we come to Maven, so Maven is a build or project management tool. They'll tell you what is Maven, they'll ask you. Maven is a build or project management tool. Project management in the sense you'll have to maintain particular order, you have to manage all dependencies, all right? That. So build for Maven will use for build purpose also. Based on the concept of project model, that is POM, project object model. Okay, contains information of the project, configuration information for to build the project, such as dependencies, build directories, source directories, test source, because when you just create a Maven project, you will get like particular like folder structure, right? This is your source folder, this is your Java folder, this is your source test folder. So this is your pom.xml. This is how you should create the project, and all will get a structure, right? All that is about Maven. So this was the simple pom.xml where we'll like inside the dependencies tag, we'll just keep adding the dependency. Okay. Okay. So Maven lifecycle, just go through this. They'll ask you, what is Maven lifecycle? This is also an important famous interview question when you say like, Maven, okay? It is validate, compile, that will do it in our project if it permits, we'll see later, okay? But they'll not ask you to do practically, they'll expect you to have a knowledge like what are the phases of Maven, that is validate, compile, package, verify, install, and deploy. So just remember all these things, keep once or twice or thrice, how many times ever you can, then we'll see like if we can implement this. Okay, because for this like internally when we are working in a project, they'll have a particular structure, it is predefined. So in my company, though we were using a Maven structure, but we were not using the validate this Maven lifecycle, but in a few companies they were using. Okay, validate, so what it does, validates the project is correct, okay, and all unnecessary informations are available or not. This is a compile, source code of a project, we have a source code, right? SRC we have, right? That it compiles. Test the compiled source using the suitable unit testing framework. These tests should not require the code to be packaged or deployed. So it will, when you have a, so for unit testing or whatever it is, we are using a TestNg, right? Unit testing we use JUnit, but advanced level of JUnit is TestNg, so we are using TestNg. Okay, so by using that, we'll just verify all the test cases. Package, take the compiled code and package it in distributed format such as .jar. So always jar is important, okay, because you're compiling that entire like so many pages, you're converting into one thing, that is called packaging. Verify, run, check result and integration. That is nothing but once you create into a package, that is integrated code. You cannot see the internal coding things and all, okay? You can see only functionality. Okay, run the any check or result on the integration test to ensure the very quality of criteria are met. Okay, so we verified the package. Now install the package into local repository to use the dependency in other project. So once you just create a package and verify everything is set, you can give this package to anyone in the form of jar. They can just import it in their project. For example, I have created some login logout feature and I'm validating that, compiling that, testing that, and I have created a jar that is in the form of package. Then I have verified, okay, is it working or not? Then I can give it to you people. Okay, if you import that, you don't have to write login and logout. You can just call my method by just importing those. Okay, you will just import login, logout, done. You don't have to write a code. Okay, then what you'll do, deploy. Done in build environment, copies the final package to the remote repository for sharing other developers and project. So deploy in the sense, you will deploy it in your deployment folder or in the GitHub, anywhere. You will have some particular thing like where you'll have to deploy. So maybe like one separate path if you have, or sometime you'll deploy it in a Git or in a CI/CD. That depends. I'll explain you how it is in later part. Okay, but you just should know what is the Maven lifecycle. It is validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, and deploy. So you should know what all happens in these phases. Okay, they'll not expect you to like explain in very brief, but if you know these things, at least if you know one keyword, what validate does, what compile does, they'll consider your profile. Okay, so I've collected all these questions after taking so many interviews and after like my students who have like taken the interviews and all from them. Also, like people who have been taking the interviews, almost 95% they'll ask from this only, 90 to 95%. Okay. So these are the commands. If you get a time, you can just go through, else it is not at all required. Okay.
How to execute package using TestNg.xml, right? How will execute? We have a particular TestNg.xml, so you'll just right click and you'll execute, right? Run as TestNg suite. How to include the particular method using TestNg.xml. So in when you come to test case, we did enable, disable, we did, right? Just to include or exclude. So if you come to TestNg.xml, how you'll do? You'll go to particular method, include and exclude. You have two keywords, right? You will come inside the class. In that particular class, you will tell, okay, include this method. You will give the method name, include name equal to this inside the method tag, right? Inside the methods tag, it will come inside the class tag. You will have a method tag, method open, method close. In this, you will give include method name equal to so and so, exclude method name equal to so and so. You can have a control from XML by using the include or exclude. Also by using in a test level, you can by using enable or enable equal to true or false. Okay, when you come to XML, it will be include or exclude by giving a method. Okay, how to include, exclude the that thing, it will be in the this test case in the TestNg.xml, right? Now by using a package using a test, it will include, exclude the packages, the particular packages, how it does. The same thing, you will just do it, you will give it as a package. You will give a package name, particular package if you want to include or exclude. You will just give a package name. That was a method, it was a package, okay? Okay, then how does TestNg parallel execution happens? The parallel methods are there, parallel tests, as I explained you, right? If you want to do like parallel test, like how it works, like by giving a thread count, right? Test at the test level, how it works, and classes, instances, are all I explained, right? Same things it follows. They'll ask you, okay, what is parallel test execution? Have you worked on that? So you can tell, okay, parallel test execution, it allows in 4 ways. That is by method, test, classes, or instances. Okay, or sometime in package level also it allows. So what are those? Anyways, I have explained in class. Please go through those. Okay. So how to achieve parallel test execution? Anyways, again, you'll come to testng.xml. You'll get parallel name equal to parallel, and parallel, once you give, I'm just giving any, this is user defined, name equal to parallel, parallel equal to parallel in small letter. If you give, you can give up classes, method, tests, suite, or however you want to give, you can give here. And you'll have to give like who you're executing, how many threads you're creating, thread count equal to 2, like 2 or 3 for how many ever you want to keep the thread count. Okay. How to achieve parallel test execution and methods? By give, as I said, right? If you want to achieve via methods, you'll give here methods. Okay, parallel equal to methods. Then how to achieve parallel test execution? So anyway, same question. Okay, how you will just do parameterization? I said you, right? By using a XML, we can achieve a parameterization. There are 2 types of parameterization as explained in the class. One by using a keyword @parameters, which we can read the parameter from testng.xml. Other parameterization we can achieve by using data provider. Okay, for multi-data parameterization, we can use by using that, and for single thing we can use it from testng.xml. Okay guys, give me a second, just go through this. I'll be back. Go through this, just make a note of this. Okay, this is very important question. What are the common exceptions you get during annotations, automations, or during like whatever the framework you're using, TestNg, Cucumber, or a page object model, or a simple Selenium? You will get these kind of exceptions. Just make a note of it. So when you come to like, when we come to the like different type of exceptions, these are the list of element not found, no such element exception, array out of bound exception, null pointer exception, no such frame, no such window, timeout exception, class not found exceptions, tail element reference exception. Tail element is anyways it is deprecated, very rarely we get. Okay, we won't get at all. So So what is the thing is here the main important, when you go to interview, they'll ask you the list of like few exceptions. Okay, at least you should be in a state to list out at least 6 to 7 or minimum 8. However, like minimum 7, so you should tell your exceptions. Okay, at the same time you should be in a state like when you'll get element not found exception, when you get no such element exception, you should be in a state to how you'll get a rebound of exception. So this is important question. They'll check your real-time experience via this only. If you have worked in real time, if you have a hands-on experience, obviously you would have received in your daily life, right? No such frame, no such window and all, right? So in that case, you should be able to explain. Take a name out all 4 to 5, 6, how many ever you can, and tell why are we getting this. Just today's assignment is make a list of elements which like list of exceptions and write a reason for that. Okay, when all we're getting this, and everyone should remember this question. Almost in all the interviews they'll ask this. If you're not able to answer this right, directly they'll reject you. Is XPath is different for different browser? No, XPath is not different for different browser. It is like holds good for all the browsers. How to handle cross browser testing? So anyways, this cross browser testing we are not doing it. Anyways, we can approve that by using again by using XML. There we can give a browser and all different story, we can do it. But anyways, as of now we are not doing. If someone asks you like, oh, okay, have you worked on cross browser testing, you're supposed to tell no, I have not got a chance to work on cross browser testing. That cross browser is nothing but you're executing a test cases on Internet Explorer, on your Chrome, on your Firefox, all that. Okay, but you should tell, okay, sorry, but I have not worked so far because I have not got, that was not our requirement in my project. So I have never got a chance to work on that. But yeah, if I get a chance to work on, I'll be eager to learn and I can work on that. Okay, that should be your answer. Okay. Optional also is not required. Okay, grouping concept you guys saw, right? They'll ask you how to achieve a group execution using TestNg. This is how you will execute group, right? As we did group run include groups, classes and all by giving those smoke or regression or functionality or in this way, right? We did. What else we have? What are the TestNg annotation at the test? So you should remember all these TestNg annotations at the test, at the before method, before suit, before class, after class. All these are annotation, data provider, parameter, optional and all. Or anyways, optional we have not used. How to define a soft assert? So when we are using a hard assert, you don't have to create any object, right? So just if you do assert.assert or hard assert, if you do, that is fine. When you're using a soft assert, you will create an object for one soft assert. Okay. Then soft assert.assert equals to, now if I give here Selenium equal to Selenium project, both are not same keyword, right? That will take string as an import, then it will just fail. But after it fails also, the execution it flows for next test case. If you're using soft assertion, then your software web application test execution will be remains continue even if assertion fails. Another most important thing is your assertion fails will be reported as a in the report. At the end, it will report. Okay, so and so was failed. What is the usage of TestNg.xml? You can just see that as I explained in the previous, the very first class, you can execute parallel test execution, reporting is good. You have so many annotation dependencies, so many annotations, right? Like include, exclude, TestNg.xml, those many things features are there, right? So you should be able to tell the features of XML. Which is the format you are using to keep your test data? So you can tell .xls means I'm reading a data from Excel. Okay. Okay. So class you're using data to read the data from Excel, that is workbook, but we here directly we use workbook. Here they have using, and we have other two concept, HSFF workbook and other thing. Okay, when we come to Excel SX and Excel X two concepts are there, right? When we come to real time. So you can read the data by using those or directly by creating a object of workbook class. So you can tell workbook class. Okay, because we used in our project workbook. Under which tag you add your TestNg.xml inside the form.xml. So that is a configuration that will take it later. Okay. So you should again they'll check in other way. Okay, see TestNg which you are using, which version? 6.11, right? This was 2018 or 17 version, and other thing is what we're using. We are using Selenium standalone server, right? 3.151.51. So just to check you, okay, have you just read theoretically or have you worked practically? So if I take your guys' example, you guys are able to answer, right? Because we know which is we have taken all the hands-on experience. We know which is the standalone server I have used, Selenium version. So if someone asks you which is the Selenium version, if you're using 3.141.59, you should be able to tell. That should always, whichever the software you're using, okay, Java, which one you're using, Java 16 or Java 1.8 or which one, that should, whichever the software tools if you're using, right, you should know the version of that. That is how they'll verify whether you have read theoretically or really you have a hands-on. Okay, so that's all, people. Interview question.